This page is the front cover of Dreamcast Magazine, screaming out about the free cheats CD. The main review is for Soldier of Fortune, asking if you could be the next gun for hire. It's got a bit of a hype about it. There are also reviews for Outrigger, saying get Trigger happy with Sega, and Dragon Riders with the tagline, "Ride me you big beast." Sonic Adventure 2 is flagged as sorted, with a massive review and guide. About time too, everyone was waiting for that one. Down the bottom is DC Goodness, showing screenshots for Shenmue 2, Propeller Arena, Phantasy Star Online 2, and Beach Spikers, a right mixed bag of games there. And right at the bottom it says, also featuring Alien Front Online, Sega Sports Jam and so much more. Jukistra. Looks like a packed issue. Page 24 of the magazine features the contents and editorial sections. A major review focuses on Soldier of Fortune, highlighting its blood, guts and gore on page 42. The editorial discusses unexpected joy in gaming, including the magazine's arrival in the post, and praising the speedy loveliness of Sonic Adventure. They also highlight the online capabilities of the Dreamcast. The newscast section covers Beach Spikers, a beach volleyball game. The forecast section previews upcoming titles like Propeller Arena, Alien Front Online, and the Dreamcast Ultimate Cheats CD. An advertisement on the left page lists new releases at £19.99, including Soldier of Fortune, Stupid Invaders, Chronicles of Pern, Dragon Riders, and The Next Tetris. The next page showcases a contents section. Dead center is a big review for Sonic Adventure 2, proclaiming the speedy hedgehog is back and just as lovely as ever. Flicking through this issue, there's a feature on Beach Spikers, Sega Online, Most Wanted Games, and Dream On. Looking at the reviews section, they've got smaller write-ups on Outrigger, Dragon Riders, Gran Turismo 2, Sega Sports Jam, and even Sega Marine Fishing. The Interact section covers reader letters, DC Online stuff, Dreamcast solutions, and general Dreamcast chatter. On the left-hand side, there's a spread showing a Dreamcast bundle with a stack of games and peripherals, plus an incredible free offer where you can grab a freebie game or accessory when you buy something. Up top there's a list of Dreamcast games for sale, nothing too exciting there, mostly older titles. This page is dedicated to a world-exclusive first look at Beach Spikers, the latest arcade game from AM2 and Yu Suzuki. It's being hyped as the next big thing hitting arcades that summer. The preview highlights the game's summery beach volleyball setting, focusing on the scantily clad ladies and simple, intuitive controls. They reckon it's easy to pick up and play, with controls for serving, blocking, setting, and spiking. The article suggests it's all about skill and timing, to master the power gauge and pull off impressive moves. It mentions you can play as teams from various countries like Spain, France, Cuba, and Australia, each with their own unique playing styles. They reckon it's a proper looker too, visually impressive, and really showing off the Dreamcast hardware. Phantasy Star Online version 2 is finally releasing in the US on Dreamcast, a major event for American fans, offering a whole new game experience with new content. The original's impact on console online gaming and its community are reflected upon. The page also covers the online subscription needed for version 2. Metal Gear Solid on Dreamcast is celebrated as a system seller, with praise for Konami's porting efforts. A brief mention is made of Dead or Alive. Cold Cuts and Hot Roots highlight excitement for Beach Spikers in arcades. Concerns are raised about a lack of online titles and potential Sega UK server shutdowns, impacting online gaming in the UK. The page concludes with an ad for game guides. This magazine page provides a mix of news, previews, and advertisements. Sega is heavily promoting its Dreamcast and future plans, emphasizing multi-platform development and Sonic-related titles. A Who's Working on What section details games in development for various consoles, including Dreamcast titles like House of the Dead 3 and Sega GT 2002. Most Wanted highlights anticipated games, with Jet Set Radio 2 and Phantasy Star Online Viva 2 topping the list. The timeline previews upcoming releases, such as Headhunter and Tennis 2K2. A small article celebrates Sonic's 10th birthday within Phantasy Star Online Ver 2. Finally, a full-page ad promotes Alone in the Dark, the new nightmare, highlighting its cross-platform availability and spooky atmosphere. The next page kicks off with Sega still going strong and giving away free Dreamcasts with crazy downloads, mind you. There's an article looking back at Streets of Rage, reminding us why we loved belting up goons back in the day with classic side-scrolling beat-em-up action, featuring some in-game screenshots. Then we dive into Sega Bass Fishing 2, and it's being touted as bigger and better than the original, which was a cracking game. They're saying it sorted out some issues and added extra features to really immerse you in the fishing experience, boasting about the depth of the console game. It mentions new lakes, improved AI for the fish, and even the ability to steer your boat. Elsewhere, there's a bit about Hooray for Hollywood and how the Dreamcast can play Devolved Eyes, which was quite the thing at the time. A bit of a surprise, really. Man in the Pub is a quick funny story, and this month line Disconnected touches on the joys of trying to get online with your Dreamcast back in the day and the frustrations of dodgy connections. This page from eb.uk.com provides a UK charts update, focusing on Dreamcast releases. It highlights upcoming games like Soldier of Fortune and Crazy Taxi 2, with prices typically around £29.99. The page also includes an EB guide discussing release dates and online retail experiences, emphasizing pre-order convenience. A top 10 sellers section reveals Confidential Mission as the #1 game, followed by 18-Wheeler and House of the Dead 2 with Light Gun. Other popular titles include Skies of Arcadia and Power Stone 2. A Get Trucking competition is featured, tied to the game 18-Wheeler Pro Trucker. Finally, a full-page advertisement promotes Mobile Bob, offering mobile customization options such as ringtones and logos, reflecting the early days of mobile phone personalization. This issue features a look at the Dreamcast's popularity in Japan and the US. Phantasy Star Online v.2 tops both charts. The US version of the game will now require a subscription, unlike the European version. A Song for Sega article highlights fan-voted favorite Sega music tracks, including songs from F355 Challenge, Outrun, and Panzer Dragoon Saga. Sonic Goes Mobile announces a new Sonic the Hedgehog game for mobile phones, part of the Sonic Cafe lineup. Finally, can you believe it? Shenmue re-released discusses the re-release of Shenmue in Japan, now including the English language version, making it accessible to a wider audience. The next page of Newscast covers a few interesting bits. First up, Sega is really pushing their online gaming plans across different platforms. Then there's a decent spread on Shenmue 2, under the title, It's a Date, giving us more details and some fresh screenshots. They're talking about a release date being set, and all the anticipation around it. There's a small piece called Fight Club within the Shenmue section, with Yu Suzuki giving his thoughts on the game and mentioning a preview disc. A slightly strange feature called Dreamcast Dairy Missing, with a milk carton and a gorilla, seems to be some kind of unusual advert style. And then surprisingly Sierra has canned the Dreamcast version of Half-Life, under the heading Quelle Surprise. Finally, there's an ad for TotalGames.net, promoting over 1,000 Dreamcast tips, cheats, and solutions online for all your gaming needs. Two upcoming Dreamcast titles are highlighted, Propeller Arena and Alien Front Online. Propeller Arena is a dogfighting flight sim set in 2045, emphasizing aerial combat, outrageous maneuvers, and multiplayer action, online and offline for up to 6 players. It promises thrilling aerial combat and team-based gameplay. Alien Front Online is a combat game where humans fight invading Triclops aliens in large-scale warfare. It features online play, 4 vs 4, diverse vehicles, including tanks and alien craft, and arcade support. Both games are slated for an August release and have an 80% anticipation rating. Propeller Arena is touted as the most thrilling aerial action, while Alien Front Online is positioned as a potentially strong title. This page showcases the Discovering the Joys of Extra section, which is all about the Exploder cheat disc for the Dreamcast. It walks you through how easy it is to use with step-by-step instructions and screenshots, showing the menu system on the Dreamcast, guiding you to select your game and cheats. It's advertising the Dreamcast Ultimate Cheats Volume 2 disc, encouraging you to buy it if you're after some top cheating action. They've even listed some of the games that have cheats on the disc, including classics like Choo Choo Rocket, Vinaytanega, Vinaytan SR, Phantasy Star Online, Red Dog, Sega GT, Sega Worldwide Soccer 2001, Shenmue, Snowcross Championship Racing, Snow Surfers, The House of the Dead 2, and WWF Royal Rumble. Vinaytane. On the right side, it's a big advert for a Boom Prize Explosion competition. It's a ring and win setup with loads of prizes up for grabs if you call the number. Prizes range from mobile phones, music bundles, mini disc players, an Apple iBook laptop, a digital hi-fi system, a PlayStation 2, Pokemon cards, a widescreen TV, Buffy Season 3 on DVD, Game Boys, digital cameras, pocket TVS, regular TVS and even WWF prizes, PlayStations and scooters. There are also Guess Who and Win sections for jewelry, makeup, baby watches, an amazing Dreamcast, and Robbie Williams concert tickets. Quite a spread of goodies on offer there, for anyone willing to ring in. The next page presents an article titled, Love in a Dreamcast. It starts by mentioning how online love stories are becoming more common, even in Hollywood films. The article explains, they received a letter from a couple who found love through Sega's Dream Arena and got engaged, which the magazine initially found hard to believe. To investigate if love via Dream Arena is actually possible, they sent their resident single bloke, Alex Warren, out to explore and find out if others have found love there too. Alongside this text is an image of a woman looking thoughtful while holding a Dreamcast controller. A red box at the top right asks, is it possible to find love on Dream Arena? Reports would suggest so, but quite frankly, who knows? Still, we're going to have a damn good go at finding out. The page is clearly setting up an investigation into the possibility of finding love through the Dreamcast's online service, Dream Arena. This page showcases a diary-style article titled Day 1 and Day 2. It's all about this bloke Alex Warren investigating finding love on the Dream Arena, you see. Day 1 kicks off with him diving into various Dream Arena chat rooms, places like Echo Pool and Sauna, Jazz Bar, and the Golf Club. He's on about how you can't just jump straight into chatting to birds, but needs to have a bit of a look around first. He mentions going into the Swearbox 18+ chat room, which sounds a bit dodgy, full of naked bodies and graphic sexual images, he says, which is probably a bit much for finding romance. He then talks about trying to be upfront and honest in the chats. Day 2 carries on with his online dating escapades, exploring more of the Dream Arena chat rooms, still looking for love, specifically mentioning someone called Janie21. It sounds like it's all going a bit pear-shaped, mentioning some mishaps and misinterpretations in online chat. The page ends with a quote in a red box at the bottom saying, the real problem is that you just don't know what anyone really looks like, no matter what they tell you. Which sums up online dating nicely, doesn't it? There are screenshots dotted about showing what the Dream Arena chat interface looked like back then with usernames and chat text, just to give you a flavor of it all. The next page continues with Alex's Dream Arena dating diary, now onto Day 3 and Day 4. On Day 3, he's still trawling through the chat rooms, having another look in Swearbox, then popping into the Sonic Lounge and Honeyb 17 Scotland rooms. Sounds like he might have got somewhere with a girl called Silver, who is from Scotland. Day 4, and he's back in the usual haunts like the pub and jazz bar chat rooms. He mentions chatting with Akiera from Cork and Honeyb from Bolton. He even says he met someone in the jazz bar. He's starting to get the picture that you can't always trust online appearances, which is the name of the game when it comes to online dating, isn't it? There's a quote at the end of Day 4 that hits the nail on the head, about never really knowing what someone looks like online. This page features the next installment of Alex's Dream Arena dating diary, now onto Day 5. It seems things aren't starting too well as everywhere he tries is deserted. He does eventually find some action in the Naughty 13 chat room and then Barrow chat room, but it sounds like he's still navigating the usual online dating pitfalls of people not being who they seem or misrepresenting themselves. It mentions a girl called Leah, and the diary continues with his observations about online personas being different from reality, which seems to be the main theme of his Dream Arena dating experiment. Alongside the diary there's an article called Tales of the Unexpected, which seems to be about the unpredictable nature of online chatting, and the kind of strange and surprising things that can happen when using chat rooms like on Dream Arena. It gives anecdotal stories of strange encounters, and highlights the potential for misunderstandings and unusual situations you might find yourself in when chatting online. It suggests that while Dream Arena can be fun, you should be prepared for the unexpected and sometimes bizarre interactions that can occur. At the bottom right, there's an advert for mobile phones, showing a Nokia 3310 and promoting Mobile M3 for ringtones, graphics and SMS, with a sale date of the 26th of July. It's that classic mobile phone craze from back then, wanting all the latest ringtones and stuff for your mobile. This issue heavily features a glowing 94% review for Sonic Adventure 2, praising its visuals, sound, gameplay, and value. The magazine outlines its review process, highlighting extensive gameplay and a packed issue. Dream Team offers staff anecdotes, revealing their gaming and personal activities. Dreamcast Opinion details the scoring system used for Sonic Adventure 2, and the rest provides mini-reviews of games like Soldier of Fortune, 42%, Outrigger, 46%, and Gran Turismo, 50%. Import reviews include Sega Marine Fishing, 58%, and Sega Sports Jam, 60%. The issue showcases a variety of reviews, alongside the spotlight on Sonic Adventure 2. This page is all about Sonic Adventure 2, and rightly so, given it's a proper top-tier game. It's a full-on review, and judging by the size of it, they were well impressed, especially as this magazine gave it a stonking 94% score. As we know, they're saying it's visually stunning and even better to play than the original Sonic Adventure, which is high praise indeed. They even go as far as to say they were fully prepared to give Sonic Adventure 2 a whopping thumbs up. The review highlights how it builds upon games like Super Mario World and Tomb Raider Chronicles, in terms of 3D level design, but brings everyone's favorite hedgehog into the realms of 3D with great effect. They mention all sorts, like camera angles being a bit dodgy in tight spots, but nothing major. There's a section dedicated to a kart racing mode within the game called A Karting We Will Go, where you can race as Sonic and Tails, and even Rouge. They say it's better than just a minigame, and is pretty well fleshed out, and you can even play 2 players. Then there's a bit called Sonic Boom, talking about Sonic's continued popularity, which is no surprise really, he's been around for ages, celebrating his 10th anniversary as seen on the big Sonic logo on the page. Looks like they really rated this one then, and rightly so, it's a classic. The next page continues the Sonic Adventure 2 review, with a section titled Awesome Moment, which highlights the character pairings and story elements. It points out that players get to experience different playing styles depending on whether they are playing through the hero side or the story mode. It then moves on to a section called Heroes and Villains, which mentions the game features 3 distinct styles of play across the characters, split into hero and dark sides. The review mentions Sonic and Tails, and Knuckles and Rouge for the hero side and Shadow, and Dr. Eggman for the dark side. The review also talks about the levels being designed specifically for each character. Then, the page shifts focus to another game entirely, with a review titled Soap on a Rope. It seems to be about soap shoes, giving Sonic extra grinding abilities, mentioning it's faster than ever to grind down railings and cross barriers. The review mentions Sonic grinds like a good un, and professionals do their soap thing, with some photos of people wearing soap shoes. It ends with a section Slip Grinding Away, which mentions this gameplay style is similar to other E102 levels in Sonic Adventure, and Dr. Eggman levels also involving similar mechanics. There's also a small infoburst panel, with some extra information about the game and the reviewer's opinions on it. This page delves into the charming world of the Kale Gardens within Sonic Adventure. It's pitched as being a bit like Pokemon, but not quite, in that you're raising these little kale creatures. The review mentions finding keys to unlock these Kale Gardens within the main game, describing them as warm and cozy places. It highlights various areas like the Kale Garden itself, the Kale Kindergarten where you teach your Kale things, the Kale Racetrack where you can race them, and even a black and white Kale Garden with its own unique vibe. The review points out the different types of gardens, hero and dark themed ones, and mentions breeding Kale to get different colors and abilities, even good and evil aligned Kale. Moving on, there's a section titled 5 Gould Rings, which seems to be about the main Sonic Adventure 2 experience. It talks about the level design, and how stages like the Rouge level in Deep Space are designed for exploration. They mention collecting 180 emblems throughout the game, and how long it takes to gather them all. Overall, it's a pretty positive look at the game, and particularly the Kale Garden element, focusing on the collecting and raising aspects and the depth of gameplay. This page is a review of Sonic Adventure 2, continuing from the previous page where they were talking about the Kale Gardens. This review is overwhelmingly positive, giving the game a whopping 93% overall score. It's packed with screenshots showing off the gameplay, and there's a big image of Shadow the Hedgehog looking rather menacing. They've got sections like Mystic Meg and Feeling Supersonic, which sound like typical magazine features. Mystic Meg seems to discuss finding hidden areas in the game and using power-ups with different characters. Feeling Supersonic talks about the story mode and how it unfolds through the hero and dark sides, mentioning Dr. Eggman trying to destroy the world, as you do. The Dreamcast Opinions section features a couple of takes on the game, praising it as a flagship title for the Dreamcast and highlighting the replay value. The Judgment section breaks down the score, giving top marks for visuals, sound, and gameplay, while alternatively mentions the original Sonic Adventure and Rayman 2, The Great Escape as similar games. Overall, it's a glowing recommendation for Sonic Adventure 2, saying it's a must-have for the Dreamcast. The next page features a review for Soldier of Fortune on the Dreamcast. It's boasting about the game's gore and violence right up front, saying to load your weapon, take the safety catch off, and get ready to make one hell of a mess of anyone that stands in your way. They mention it was a PC title a little while back, but the Dreamcast version is a solid conversion, highlighting the gore zones and mindless mutilation. There's a section called Infoburst giving background on John Mullins, the real-life mercenary who the game is based on, talking about his military and VIP protection background and even that he's an author. The review reckons, the gameplay is a blend of Quake 2, Arena and Rainbow Six, emphasizing realistic weapons and fun gameplay despite the serious tone. They've got a quote box saying the Dreamcast version is, graphically and orally, a laudable achievement, ably demonstrating the DC's ability to handle PC conversions with relative ease. There are a few screenshots showing the game's gritty visuals and action, including some rather explosive moments. Right at the bottom there's a little online information box with a website for the game. This review of Soldier of Fortune focuses on the game's weaponry and Dreamcast version. The weapon of choice section highlights the knife, shotgun, sniper rifle, machine gun, and the fictional yet effective microwave gun. The multiplayer experience, titled Come Play With Me, is a major point of criticism. The Dreamcast version lacks online multiplayer, a significant drawback compared to the PC version. The Dreamcast opinion box praises the graphics, sound, and extensive weaponry, but condemns the absence of online play, calling it a fatal flaw. A second opinion echoes this sentiment, lamenting the missed opportunity for online gaming on the Dreamcast. Despite these flaws, the game receives an overall score of 86%, with high marks for visuals, sounds, and gameplay. The review concludes that while the single-player experience is strong, the lack of multiplayer significantly impacts the overall enjoyment. This page showcases a review for Outrigger on the Dreamcast. It seems they're calling it a first-person shooter em-up, which is fair enough. The review talks about the single player being pretty decent, with tons of levels and weapons, ticking those boxes for sure. It mentions the online play situation again, like with Soldier of Fortune on the previous page, highlighting that online multiplayer is missing, which was a bit of a downer back then for Dreamcast owners wanting to play online. There are a few screenshots dotted around showing the in-game action. Looks like your typical fast-paced shooter, with futuristic elements. The review box mentions the control system being a bit of a bitch to get used to, but okay, once you get the hang of it, especially if you're using a keyboard and mouse, which some of us did back then. There's a section called Itchy Fingers, talking about how fans of Unreal Tournament and Quake 2 Arena might like it. The review finishes with a quote emphasizing the weapon choices and customization, saying, you can choose which default weapons you get to carry, which face your enemies see before they die, and even what color clothing you're wearing. It's all rather cool. Sounds like they were trying to sell the customization aspect quite heavily. Published by Sega, it was out in July and cost £29.99, so a typical Dreamcast release then. This page continues the review of Outrigger for the Dreamcast, giving it a very respectable 92% overall score. They break down the ratings into visuals at 94%, sounds at 92%, gameplay at 91%, and value at 86%. The review highlights the lack of online play as a major drawback, stating Outrigger with online play would probably get around 96%. It doesn't have it, so we'll mark it down to 92%. They acknowledge Sega's decision not to include online play, listing reasons like level loading times and player count limitations. Hack. The weapon of choice section emphasizes the depth of the deathmatch experience and compares it favorably to Unreal Tournament and Quake 2 in Arena, mentioning the thermography goggles as a cool gadget. Guns Out for the Lads section seems to further emphasize the fun factor despite the missing online multiplayer. In the judgment box, they praise the weapon selection and the intense gameplay, concluding, God is in the detail. God is great. The second opinion box reiterates the comparison to Quake and Unreal Tournament, emphasizing Outrigger's strengths despite the lack of online play. The Alternatively section directly recommends Quake 2 Arena and Unreal Tournament as alternatives if you want online multiplayer. There are a bunch of screenshots dotted around showing the first-person action, various futuristic-looking environments and characters in combat. Overall, they're clearly impressed with Outrigger as a single-player and local multiplayer shooter, but the missing online play is a significant point of contention for them. This page is a preview of Gran Turismo 2 for the Dreamcast, which is quite a surprise seeing as Gran Turismo is very much a PlayStation franchise. The article jokes about the absurdity of a PlayStation classic appearing on the Dreamcast and labels it as bleem. It seems to be a cheeky reference to the Bleem emulator, implying this Dreamcast version is actually the PlayStation game running via emulation. The preview talks about the chunky graphics being smoothed out and enhanced, and how the gameplay is still great even if it looks a bit dated compared to modern racers of the time. There's a mention of it being better than the Gran Turismo mode everyone is familiar with on PlayStation, and how it's a welcome surprise for Dreamcast owners. They also touch upon the idea of playing 32-bit PlayStation gaming history on your spanky 128-bit console, and call it a bit of a laugh, ultimately suggesting it's worth playing if you're a fan. Screenshots dotted around the page show in-game racing action, with cars on tracks and speedometers visible, alongside some menu screens. There's also a section called Bringing Out the Big Boys, which shows screenshots of cars from different manufacturers, like Audi, Aston Martin, Shelby American, TVR, Suzuki and BMW, suggesting these are some of the vehicles available in the game. Overall, it's a light-hearted and slightly sarcastic preview, highlighting the novelty of playing Gran Turismo 2, albeit emulated, on the Dreamcast. This review focuses on a Bleem version of Gran Turismo 2 running on the Dreamcast. The review praises the improved graphics, particularly the anti-aliasing, making it smoother than the original PlayStation version, despite basic textures. It acknowledges the solid gameplay and addictive nature of the game. The reviewer recommends the Bleem version for Dreamcast owners wanting to play Gran Turismo 2, even just for fun, awarding it a 68% score. Alongside the review is an advertisement for the UK National LAN Tour Summer 2001. This large PC gaming event, with locations across the UK and Ireland, appears geared towards first-person shooter fans, judging by its imagery. The ad promotes the event as the largest combined LAN party and national tournament in the UK, encouraging participation and providing a website and address for more information. The next page features a review of Dragon Riders, Chronicles of Pern for the Dreamcast. It seems to be a game based on Anne McCaffrey's Pern novels, focusing on fire-breathing dragons and mysterious happenings. The review suggests the game is quite story-driven with puzzles and a lead character akin to Sean Bean, whoever that is meant to be. The screenshots show some dragon riding action and in-game environments. The review mentions the gameplay involves riding dragons, exploring Pern, and undertaking various quests. It sounds like a bit of a slow-paced affair, described as hardly thrilling stuff, as the plot meanders along at the speed of a particularly lazy snail. The reviewer also points out that while there's plenty to do, it's not exactly action-packed and leans heavily into puzzle solving and talking to characters. There's a section discussing the RPG elements, which they've dubbed bodybuilding, referring to character stats. Overall, it paints a picture of a game more focused on story and exploration than fast-paced action, perhaps a bit too slow for some, but possibly enjoyable for fans of the Pern books or those who like a more relaxed pace. It's not exactly glowing praise but doesn't outright trash it either. The next page is an advert for a magazine called Gear. It's shouting about being the magazine that takes no SHT, and is dedicated to testing all the latest cool kit to destruction. It promises reviews every month on everything from gadgets and sportswear, to websites and in-things, plus films, DVDs and games consoles. They reckon it's better than sex, and that they test products in real-life situations to see if they survive. It's on sale now at newsagents and covers stuff like jet skis, BMX bikes, MP3 players, PS2 versus Xbox, trainers and DVDs. Looks like it's aimed at lads who like their gear. Sega Marine Fishing for the Dreamcast is a follow-up to the successful Sega Bass Fishing. This saltwater fishing game lets players catch various fish, from skipjack tuna to marlin, with unique fighting styles for each. It features arcade and training modes with minigames. While graphically improved, the review suggests potential improvements, and the graphics engine could be better. The game includes quirky additions like a rock collecting minigame. Review scores are mixed, with an overall score of 69%. Some find the visuals dated, and the aquarium feature lacking. However, others enjoy the gameplay and find it addictive, especially for fans of the original. Despite not being groundbreaking, the game is considered a fun and enjoyable experience, expanding on the fishing formula. This page features a review for Sports Jam on the Dreamcast, and it sounds like a decent arcade sports compilation. They're calling it Arcade Perfect, and saying it's packed with 12 different sporting events, like a jam donut filled with sport rather than strawberries. They seem to be reminiscing about the arcade era, and how conversions were getting better, and Sports Jam apparently delivers on that front. Martin Mathers in the review reckons it's got that classic Sega arcade mastery, being arcade perfect right down to the smallest detail. The review mentions it's got a good selection of events to choose from, and plenty to keep you busy, even if it's a bit simple and just addictive little game. On the side there's a Dreamcast opinion section. The judgment box is giving it a spam, which seems to be good in their rating system, with Jam being the top score. Alex Warren in the second opinion reckons he first played it in the arcade back in February, and was impressed then, and still enjoys it on the Dreamcast, saying it's got real brilliance. They're suggesting Sonic Shuffle and Virtua Tennis as alternatives if you fancy something different. The Dreamcast rating breaks it down, giving visuals 88%, sound 75%, gameplay 91%, and value 79%, with an overall score of 82%. Lastly, there's a bit at the bottom called "And the award goes to," talking about earning medals in the game by completing objectives, which adds a bit of extra depth to proceedings. The next page looks like a bit of a mixed bag. Over on the left, Project K are advertising their import game services, listing a whole load of games and accessories for different consoles, including the Dreamcast. They've got things like Pocket Station adapters, Dreamcast link cables, and VGA boxes, alongside games like Sonic Adventure, Grandia 2, Shenmue, and Phantasy Star Online. It's a proper import goldmine for the keen Dreamcast owner. Then over on the right, there's the Inter at CT section, promising cheats and tips, which is always handy. Below that, Stuff and Nonsense is showing off some random gadgets and bits and bobs. But the real meat is the Sonic Adventure 2 preview. They're calling it Sonic Adventure 2, Stuck Already? Which is a bit cheeky. They say, "Our gaming chimps bring forth much assistance." It's a walkthrough section, showing off screenshots of Sonic running through the stages, looking as fast and colourful as you'd expect. Seems like they are offering some help for players already getting stuck in, likely just after the game's release. At the bottom there's a regulars section, advertising the regular features in the magazine like reader reviews, directory, Dream On, and Dream Moment. Just the usual magazine sections really. The Dreamcast magazine's mailbox section features reader letters and responses. Readers discuss peripherals, with the magazine offering Mad Catz giveaways. Gun Fun praises Confidential Mission. Is it magic? Confirms the Blaze Exploder's effectiveness for import games. Scrap, scrap, scrap recounts humorous Dreamcast confusion. The same thing, only different. And the magazine both praise the Dreamcast's design and reliability. 10 Seconds of Fame humorously details a reader's attempt to microwave their console. Impure Thoughts addresses the move away from Dreamcast development, with the magazine hinting at Sega's internal decisions. Desperately in need of a keyboard highlights the lack of online football management games. Shortcuts contains quick reader comments, including positive feedback on the magazine and games like Crazy Taxi. The section also includes game screenshots. This section features Dreamcast game reviews and advertisements. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 receives a stellar 96%, praised for its improved gameplay and surprisingly good soundtrack. Sega Rally 2 scores 82%, considered a solid arcade port despite some control and graphical issues. Virtua Striker 2, version 2001 earns a 63%, deemed enjoyable but dated. WWF Royal Rumble gets a strong 93% as a top-tier wrestling title. Readers can submit their own reviews for a free Mad Catz Dreampad. Additional content includes an ad for Inspector Cheats, a cheat code service, and a GameStation advertisement offering discounted Dreamcast games like Wacky Races and Fur Fighters, with trade-in options for used games. Interact Deconline's next page is a diverse mix. A Buy section promotes Popex, a site for buying Popstar shares via Dreamcast. Film discusses movies like The Planet of the Apes, spoof We're All Monkeys, and Disney's Atlantis, with It's Got a U in It, touted as a major war film. Music features Emma Bunton's website and several Spice Girls-themed sites. Rivals compares consoles, praising the GameCube and criticizing the Xbox for its American focus and the PS2 for its high price. Comedy covers comedy websites like Morphed Ain't and explores humor sites with soul-searching questions. Weird highlights odd websites, including urban legends and parent-blaming sites. There's a Top Botty competition for Dotbot toys. Finally, stuck on a Dreamcast game? Advertises a costly premium-rate phone line for game help. This page is packed with cheat codes and tips for a few Dreamcast titles. Starting off we have Kiss Psycho Circus, The Nightmare Child, with a simple cheat for invincibility and instructions on how to access the Kiss pinball game, which is a bit of a hidden gem if you have the PC version of the game knocking about. Lenigoth. Moving on, there's Crazy Taxi 2, with a whole bunch of cheats to mess around with. You've got no destination markers, no arrows, expert mode, and then unlocks for the various crazy pyramid areas and vehicles like the push bike, baby carriage and original characters. Then we have Red Dog, with cheats for unlocking extra multiplayer levels and maps, for those who are still battling it out in that tank shooter. Sonic Adventure 2 gets a decent chunk of space detailing how to unlock hidden content. This covers kart racing mode, 2-player kart racing, boss time attack and story mode movies. There's also instructions for unlocking both the Hero and Dark Chaos Gardens, which are a firm favorite with players wanting to raise those virtual critters. Finally, over on the right, there are Exploder cheat codes listed in tables for Metropolis Street Racer and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. These are your typical cheat device codes for things like all cars unlocked in MSR, and various character tweaks, and infinite health options in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Standard stuff for cheat fans back in the day. This page of Dreamcast Magazine features a questions and answers section. A reader is stuck in skies of Arcadia, trying to find the lost city of Rixis, and is given clues related to Great Bird and Golden Man to help them progress. Another reader is having trouble with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, struggling to find the secret character Private Carrera, and needs help finding gaps on Mad Skill's Roof Gap and Ledge on Edge in the School 2 level, and is given directions. Someone else asks about Record of Lodos War, wondering if there are any cheats to help with the game, particularly the dungeon bosses, and the magazine suggests persevering, indicating it's more about skill than cheats for this title. There's a Beat Yourself challenge for Crazy Taxi 2, encouraging readers to beat set scores in various minigames like Crazy Golf, Crazy Hurdle, and Crazy 3 Jump to win a Joytech Goodies set. Alongside this is a DVD review advert featuring Menisuvari, and the tagline "The Future is Here," and a Cheats Unlimited advert promoting their website and phone lines for game cheats, boasting over 10,000 cheats and tips. The next page is part 1 of a 2-part walkthrough for Sonic Adventure. It starts with the controls for the game, then moves into a guide for the city escape level, which is level 1. It gives a mission objective and describes how to navigate the level, mentioning collecting coins, avoiding cars and using speed rollers. The walkthrough continues onto Wild Canyon level 2, stating that emerald pieces are randomly placed and gives tips for collecting them, advising to look in TVS and when lightning flashes. Finally, it covers 2 boss fights, F6T Bigfoot, which is described as straightforward, and Dr. Eggman, giving advice on how to defeat him by running away and using homing attacks. There are screenshots from the game throughout to illustrate the walkthrough. This walkthrough covers several levels in Sonic Adventure. In Prison Lane, level 3, players must destroy robots, use lifts and speed rollers, finding a Chaos container and the laser cannon. Metal Harbor, level 4, focuses on escaping the military base, emphasizing running, homing attacks, light shoes for light dash, and using a Chaos container on a rocket. Green Forest, level 5, involves escaping the island by navigating tunnels, destroying robots, and using speed rollers and springs. Pumpkin Hill, level 6, requires finding 3 Master Emerald pieces, with the shovel claw being essential for digging. The guide mentions locations like Rockets, Church Mountain, and Pumpkin Mountain. Mission Street, level 7, tasks players with destroying enemies. This involves shooting robots, using homing attacks, and navigating collapsing roads, moving platforms, and metal cages. The final section is a boss fight against Shadow, where players need to use spin attacks, grab rings, avoid attacks, and stay away from the edges. The next page of this magazine continues the Sonic Adventure walkthrough. Starting with Aquatic Mine level 8, it details finding 3 pieces of the Master Emerald in this water-themed stage, advising players to use certain buttons to manage water levels. Next is Route 101 level 9, described as a simple level where you chase the president's limo, emphasizing driving quickly and avoiding cars to reach the goal. Namalomili. Hidden Base level 10 instructs players to find the entrance to the hidden base. It involves dropping onto platforms, shooting robots and monkeys, using bombs, and navigating through various sections including tanks and a lookout room to reach the goal. Pyramid Cave level 11 is about escaping Eggman's hidden base. The walkthrough guides players through using hourglasses to manipulate time, bounce bracelets, and springs to navigate the pyramid and defeat bad guys to reach the goal. Finally, Death Chamber level 12 focuses on finding the 3 gate keys. It mentions using hammer gloves to break open metal containers to find Kale, using speed rollers, and digging in certain colored areas to uncover secret areas. This walkthrough covers several boss battles and levels in Sonic Adventure. The King Boom Boo fight involves repeated attacks while avoiding close proximity when the ghost is small. Eternal Engine Level 13 tasks you with destroying robots and a power generator by navigating doors, lasers, and switches. The Rouge boss fight emphasizes constant movement and countering her rapid attacks, including reflecting a laser back at her. Meteor Herd Level 14 involves locating Master Emerald pieces, utilizing clues, TVS, and the Water Monster attack to navigate rooms with gravity switches and balloons. In Crazy Gadget Level 15, the goal is to defeat Eggman by navigating a level with lightspeed dash, smashing glass, and using handles. Finally, the Dr. Eggman boss fight mirrors a previous encounter, focusing on dodging projectiles and using lightspeed dash to damage and ultimately defeat him. This guide for Sonic Adventure 2 covers Final Rush, Level 16, focusing on navigating with rails, springs, and the Shadow boss fight. Keep moving, use lightspeed dash, dodge. A significant portion is devoted to the Kale Garden. It explains how to raise Kale by hatching eggs, petting, feeding, and evolving them. The guide covers animal types, penguins, rabbits, etc., and chaos drives to influence KO abilities and appearance, including black/gold KO and good or evil traits. The KO Kindergarten offers tips, the principal's office for advice, the medical center, and the classroom. It also details betting in the kindergarten using medals, with options like Lucky 7 and white/black cow logo. The walkthrough promises more to come. This page is a right old mix, isn't it? Looks like a page crammed full of phone ringtones and graphics, back when that was all the rage. There's a big advert screaming "Rock your Nokia," with all sorts of tone options, and another one pushing football songs for your phone. Seems like you could get ringtones for just about anything, even film and TV themes. Digga. Over on the right, there's a daft advert about winding up your mates with prank calls. Then there's more about ringtones, this time specifically for Nokia, Motorola and Sagem phones, offering both ringtones and graphics for them, 60p pop. They even mention Iconophone and their website, iconophone.com. Fancy that. Down at the bottom we've got an ad for Lametron Exchange, looks like a place to trade in your games. Blimey, they're even showing off a Game Boy Advance in the advert, and some games screenshots, says you can trade in your old games for cash or new ones. Base their games. Lastly, there's Cheats Unlimited. Remember them? Every gamer used cheat books back then, before the internet was everywhere. They're boasting about being the world's #1 for cheats and tips with over 10,000 of them. Looks like they cover a load of platforms, including the Dreamcast. They've even got a rather eye-catching woman in the ad, typical for those cheat guides back then. You could call them up for cheats at 60p a minute. Those were the days. The Dreamcast Directory is a comprehensive guide to Dreamcast games, organized alphabetically with information like game name, publisher, player count, VM usage, online capabilities, special accessories, ratings, and review issue number. It features reviews for a wide variety of titles, including American Pro Trucker, 18-Wheeler, and 102 Dalmatians, each with concise descriptions and ratings. Notable games like Dynamite Cop and F355 Challenge received positive reviews, while ECW Hardcore Revolution and ESPN NBA Tonight were less favorably received. The directory also includes comparisons to other games and consoles, offering context for each review. A reviewers panel lists the contributors, adding to the directory's detailed overview of the Dreamcast library. This Dreamcast directory update features game reviews spanning various genres. Standout titles include NFL 2K and its sequel, Rayman 2, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Sonic Adventure 2, Soul Calibur, Skies of Arcadia, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. The directory also highlights classics like Quake 2, Shenmue, and House of the Dead 2. Mixed reception goes to titles like Nightmare Creatures 2 and Red Dog. The update also reviews the album Rings Around the World by Super Furry Animals. The most played section focuses on Outrigger, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sega Sports Jam. The comics section covers Stormwatch, A Finer World, and 100 Bullets, both receiving positive reviews. The Best of Genre section recommends specific titles for each genre, including Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Soul Calibur, MSR, Choo Choo Rocket, Starlancer, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and Hidden and Dangerous. The next page is an import directory, listing a massive collection of games you might have had to order from abroad back in the day. On the left there's a video section starting with the Karate Kid, a bit odd to see that in a games mag, must be a video review. Then, Gone in 60 Seconds, another film review it seems, and finally, Frasier, complete season 1 box set, again, a video review, not games related at all. Moving over to the main import directory, it's crammed with titles. Looking at the game names, we have titles like Aero Dancing F, Baldies Cannon Spike, Cool Borders Burn, Dance Dance Revolution Second Mix, Elemental Gimmick Gear, Giant Graham 2000, Guilty Gear X, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Mr. Driller, Poppin' Music 2, Puzzle Bobble 4, Rainbow Cotton, Sakura Wars, Samba de Amigo, Seaman, Street Fighter 03, Super Magnetic Neo, Super Puzzle Fighter 2, Twinkle Star Sprites, Typing of the Dead, and Virtua Cop 2 to name a few. There's a small image showcasing Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and its graphics being marginally improved from the arcade version, boasting around 20 characters and a score of 80%. Below that is Exhibition of Speed, with a very low score of 19%. Sounds like it wasn't up to much. Lastly, there's One World Grand Prix also scoring 80%, praised for its gameplay and depth, although perhaps a bit too hardcore for some. This page showcases a collection of quirky gadgets under the title Stuff and Nonsense. We've got the WMPIV MP3 watch. Imagine a watch that plays MP3s. Bit of a novelty really. Then there's the Bruiser, some homebrew kit for making your own beer. Where headphones are featured, Sony brand, nothing too exciting there. Moving on, we have the Candy Floss Machine, a portable candy floss maker. Rather fun for kids, I suppose. Next is the DAP MP3 Jukebox, another MP3 player, this one from Creative Labs. The CMD40F7Z TRC watch is a bit more interesting, a Casio watch that doubles as a TV remote. Clever idea that. For game fans, there are Tomb Raider figures, action figures from the Tomb Raider games, featuring Lara Croft of course. Then there's the Triggersplat, a water pistol, looks like a bit of harmless fun. Finally, we have the Dragonfly, a remote control toy helicopter, or drone as they are called these days. Bit of a mixed bag of bits and bobs really, typical gadget page. This page previews upcoming Dreamcast games. Beach Spikers, a beach volleyball game, is highlighted with colourful screenshots. The Review Next Issue section features Phantasy Star Online v.2 Bang, Gunship Elite, Special Ops 2 Heavy Metal, Geomatrix, Hoyle Casino, and Arabian Nights. A Solutions Next Issue section focuses on Sonic Adventure 2. The final section previews several games with screenshots. Shenmue 2, Tennis 2K2, Headhunter, Virtua Striker 3, Gun Valkyrie, and Vampire Knight. These games cover various genres, including action, sports, and shooters, promising a diverse selection for Dreamcast players. This page promotes Dreamcast Magazine back issues and subscription offers. The back issue section highlights classic Dreamcast games featured in past editions, including Soul Calibur, Crazy Taxi, Shenmue, Metropolis Street Racer, and many more. Numerous titles are listed, showcasing the console's best offerings, with some issues already sold out, indicating their popularity. A retro image of Tyrus Flare from Golden Axe adds a nostalgic touch. The subscription side encourages readers to sign up for the magazine, offering a direct debit option with a 10% saving. The subscription covers feature games like Crazy Taxi 2 and Sonic Adventure. The page emphasizes the cost savings of subscribing versus buying individual issues. This page features a Dream Moment preview of the Spider-Man game on the Dreamcast, declaring, "My Spidey sense is tingling." The article hints at the familiar Spider-Man narrative, involving rescuing a damsel, facing classic villains like Rhino, Venom, Scorpion, Carnage, and of course Dr. Octopus. It emphasizes the challenge and satisfaction of the gameplay, suggesting it's a worthy addition to the Dreamcast library. Next to this game preview is an advert promoting mobile phone ringtones and graphics with the bold statement, "Invade your mobile." It encourages readers to select ringtones or graphics from the page or website, mobiletone.co.uk, and order via phone using premium rate numbers or fax. A list of codes and ringtone titles is provided, ranging from artist names like Dream and Melanie B, to music titles like Bittersweet Symphony and Halloween. The advert highlights compatibility with Sagem and Motorola mobiles.